Hey, welcome back to our study called All This Has Come Against Me. This is Brighter Rays. And we're looking at Genesis 42, looking at the whole chapter. Today we're focusing in on verses 21 through 28. And today's study is called, What Has God Done to Us? That's what the brothers say. Well, after hearing what Joseph says to them, they begin to speak to each other in Hebrew. And they don't realize that Joseph can understand them because they think he is an Egyptian, and the whole time he's been speaking through an interpreter. Now, their consciences are finally offended after 20 years, and they confess that they are not honest men. They are guilty men. They saw Joseph and his distress when he begged them not to throw him in the pit or to kill him or to sell him into slavery. They see that what Joseph is putting them through, this test, is a punishment for what they did to him. Which they don't realize it's Joseph, which is very funny, but they see what is happening in their lives right then is a punishment for what they did to Joseph. So that's when Reuben, who is, not the beacon of honesty and truth here, but he has, as we've already seen in his dealings with his father's concubine, he speaks up now. And he says, "Did I not tell you not to sin against that boy? But you did not listen. So now there comes a reckoning for his blood." Remember what he also said to them. What I'm going to do. What am I going to do, he says. That's what he said when they did that. And he realizes that they actually sold Joseph into slavery instead of leaving him there in the pit. Because he goes back and he comes back and says, "What do you guys do? You sold him? Now what am I going to do?" And so he was thinking about himself at that point, but he conveniently leaves that out when he's rebuking his brothers. "Remember that? Remember what you guys did? I told you not to do that." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, but I was thinking about myself mostly, not about Joseph." But it's here that we see that Joseph is not putting his brothers through the test because of some kind of desire for revenge. That's not what he's doing. He's not seeking revenge. Because hearing what his brothers say, Joseph turns and he weeps. Joseph's heart is soft towards them, but he decides to continue to test his brother's honesty. And so he has Simeon bound and then actually places their money back into their bags without them knowing. And then sends them on their way. Which is very interesting. Now, at the rest stop on their way back home, one of the brothers opens his bag and finds his money was in his bag. And the brothers tell the rest, and they turn to one another and say, a very honest and truthful thing here. What is this that God has done to us? What? The brothers believe in the providence and discipline of God? The text says that their hearts failed them and they trembled. Now, it sounds like their grandfather, Isaac, who trembled greatly when he realized that the discipline of God was upon him. If they doubted the words of Reuben before, they are fully convinced now because they think God is against them. They were really sure if the reckoning of Joseph's blood was coming against them, then they're like, yeah, well, it's definitely coming against us now. But little do they know that this is actually God saving them. This is not meant to punish them. Like the treasure that they find in their bags, we'll see in the next chapter, it's a hidden treasure. It's a windfall. This is a great thing. But because they feel guilty, they feel the shame, whatever God is doing to them, they feel bad about it. So even if God was blessing them at this point, they couldn't see it because of their guilt and shame. And all they can see is that, what is God doing to us? What is he doing to us now? Why are you doing this to us, Lord? And so that's where they're at. Well, that's the end of our study for today. Come back to tomorrow's study, and we'll look at verses 29 through 38, and we'll see there's a lack of trust still going on in this family. So we'll look at that next time.